Everything emanates from Krishna.
I hope everybody is able to hear, right? Audio is coming?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I will close my audio now.
Krishna breathes, and he breathes life into everything that exists. He breathes life into us. He even gives life to the material energy, a certain kind of life. He creates all the elements. And all of this manifestation, this material manifestation, comes from the subtle. The ether, the breathing, and from the sound vibration. So from the subtle, from the sound, everything is created. So we, tiny, marginal jiva energy, we are completely dependent on the Lord and the Lord's energy to sustain us, maintain us, and even to guide us. The part I'd like to focus on is, because it's mentioned a few times in this purport, of course, Krishna has 3 features. Brahma, Paramatma, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And of course, Brahman is all of the energy, and Paramatma is the localized energy within our heart, and Bhagavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, it also talks about how the living entities in this material world are struggling. Prabhupada uses that word struggling. It's very challenging to be a soul in a human machine. It's the most challenging life there is. Of course, it's also the most glorious life there is. The demigods are waiting in line to take birth in the human form, because from this human form we have the potential of going back to Godhead. It's a little harder to go back to Godhead from the heavenly planets, because the enjoyment is just a little too much. And it's pretty hard to go back to Godhead from the hellish planets, because it's way too much. But in this human form of life, we're given intelligence, and we're given a guide. Krishna is our inner intelligence. Krishna lives in everyone's heart, providing knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And sometimes we don't necessarily talk about this inner guidance system that we have. We don't talk about it so much. We talk about the external guides. We talk about Guru. And of course, Guru, he clearly explains the scriptures to us. At the same time, our Guru and or our mentors, they're not with us 24/7. They're not with us at all times. And we can't be calling them every time we need some support or help. That would be really bothersome. But Krishna's right there with us. He is in our heart 24/7. This is how much Krishna loves us. He stays with us, and he goes with us even in life forms of animals or insects. He's right there in our heart to guide us, to give us direction. And he gives us a direction according to our desires. Now, desire is a powerful gift we've been given by Krishna. It's called free will. Krishna gives us free will, he gives us desire. And for whatever reason, somehow we desired to be here in this world. And then we also desired to find Krishna, and now we're here in this temple. So, by our desire, Krishna in our heart guides us. All of us have been guided to come in contact with Krishna personally. All of us have been guided to come to this temple, to come to ISKCON, to engage in this process. And even after we come into this process, Krishna remains in our heart to help us. It's a struggle to not just to be a soul in a human machine, but then to take on the extra added responsibility of saying, now I'm going to be conscious. I'm not just going to be conscious, I'm going to be Krishna conscious. That takes a lot. The majority of the world, they're at different levels of consciousness. And yet many are experiencing so much pain that they want to go unconscious. They want to go unconscious. So unconsciousness is a protective mechanism. Certainly, sometimes we go unconscious. We go to sleep at night. That's a semi-conscious unconsciousness, because we need to decompress from the stresses of the day. And sometimes we need to forget about the stress and the anxiety. So Krishna gives us unconsciousness. In taking on this process of Krishna consciousness, we're declaring we want to be conscious. I was looking around the temple this morning and seeing just how beautifully decorated everything is, all the marble work, all the beautiful details of everything, and not only how beautiful it is, but how well maintained the temple is. Everyone is attentive to so many details here. The deity worship, taking care of everything. Can we be that attentive as we chant the holy name? Can we be that attentive in our relationships with one another? Can we be that attentive to the details of how we speak and how we engage with one another? Can we be that attentive to the fact that Krishna is in our heart and he's witnessing all of our activities? This attention is vital if we want to be Krishna conscious. We can't become Krishna conscious on autopilot. Sometimes we read in the scriptures that if we chant, then automatically everything will happen. But it's not automatic like autopilot automatic. It's autopilot is our conditioned nature. And our conditioned nature will automatically get us what? what will our conditioned nature automatically get us? I'm sorry? A repetition of birth and death. If we're unconscious, we will automatically get another birth. That's what happens automatically. And if we're on autopilot, that can happen automatically. But we've come to this Krishna consciousness movement. We've come here and declared, I want to be conscious, not just conscious, I want to be Krishna conscious. How carefully can we proceed in our life day after day and be aware of how conscious or unconscious we are? For myself, I know that in the beginning of my Krishna consciousness, being young and having so much energy, it was the beginning of the movement, we worked really hard, and we were trained to work really hard, and we were even trained that besides coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class, too much reading was sense gratification, and that really we should work hard. And then our samadhi will come later. Work now, samadhi later. So sometimes when we're busy, it is a good way to engage the mind and dovetail all of our senses in devotional life. It's an important part of devotional life to engage our mind and senses. At the same time, just dovetailing and engaging our mind and senses, just dovetailing our senses and just working hard doesn't bring us to deeper consciousness. Deeper consciousness takes attention. We're asked to chant attentively. Not automatically, not mechanically, attentively. We want to be present to the fact that Krishna's there and we're calling him. Can you imagine if you called your friend to your house and then they were talking to you and you were like in your book or looking at your phone? How do you feel when someone does that in front of you? So we're asked to be attentive in our chanting. We're also want to be conscious of what's going on in our relationships. Our relationships are a good indicator to let us know how we're doing. We can see that in relationships, so many different emotions may arise and come up. And sometimes when these emotions arise and come up, we may want to blame the other person for bringing that up in us, rather than taking the responsibility that if it came up in me, it must have been inside of me. Sometimes we say that by chanting, automatically all the good qualities manifest. And I'd like to say that I liken chanting Hare Krishna to making ghee. Okay? The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is the flame. We put the flame on, and we want to purify, we want to clarify the butter, we want to purify it. So we put the flame on, and the impurities come up to the top. Now sometimes as devotees, when the impurities come up to the top, we don't like that. We don't like the looks of it. And we stir them back in and push them down. And then we wonder maybe why the process of chanting isn't working. Krishna gives us guidance, and he gives us free will. So he helps us by giving us this Maha Mantra so that the impurities can be brought up to the surface so that we can see them. Because the impurities are so subtle. They're invisible to our eyes. We can't really tell all the stuff that we got inside. All of our subtle body memories, our habits, our anartas, our false ego elements. We can't really see them. They're really pretty much under the water. And so when Krishna kindly, in the form of the holy name, brings them up to our consciousness, brings them up to our vision, he's giving us the opportunity to now, let me be attentive. How might I resolve these? How might I complete and remove these impurities rather than stirring them back in? But Krishna doesn't force. He is just the witness. He is our guide. And if we want to stir them back in, so be it. Stir them back in. It might take a few more years, but do as you like. You have free will. Now, if we really want to become purified, Krishna will also give us the intelligence that we may need to face some things which are not, become repulsed, and we move away and we want to hide them from, not just from others, we want to even hide them from our own self. However, when we're curious and when we desire, Krishna will give us the strength and the courage to face those impurities and clear them from our heart and from our mind, from our conversations, from our relationships, so that we can deepen our connection to him. The super soul is a very vital part of our Krishna consciousness. And on the cover of these two books, I have the two birds. The yellow bird is the Jiva, and the blue bird is Krishna. And in the first book about the mind and false ego, the Jiva is on autopilot. He's kind of got zombie eyes. He's going through life, but he's not conscious, and he's not even conscious that Krishna's right there next to him, giving him good guidance. But the bird is just on autopilot. This is what the coverings, the layers of the false ego do. They keep us buried. And as we chant, these become revealed to us so that we can do something about it. Luckily, in the second book about the habits, the bird is waking up, Jiv Jago, and being able to recognize that Krishna is in my heart next to me, and he can help me. I just have to ask him for help. Sometimes we don't get Krishna's help because we don't ask for it. We try to figure it out ourselves. Even Draupadi, she tried to hold on to her own sorry and figure it out herself. And when she finally realized she couldn't do anything, she actually let go of her sorry and depended completely on Krishna. So this dependence on Krishna, this dependence on the super soul, this attention to what am I desiring? Am I taking time? Do I have time to reflect? Do I have time to recognize that Krishna's with me? Do I have time to recognize how much Krishna is giving me? He's giving me my very breath at every moment. Sometimes when we slow down, we see more. Sometimes less is more. So I just pray that somehow we can all take the time to reflect and take the time to do the inner work that's required to pull apart the layers that are covering our smothered soul self and to clear the polluted air of our mental chatter that covers our soul. And that we pray to Super Soul and call out to Super Soul, please help me. Please help me. I need help. And just that cry, I need your help. Govinda, I need your help. Krishna gives all help. So, actually, I hadn't planned for this verse because I had asked for another verse. And then Krishna put it right in front of me. So I thought, I guess there's something for me to learn in this verse. Learning to depend on Krishna and to accept whatever Krishna sends, even when we're not ready. I'm really grateful to be here with all of you, and I did want to give you time to reflect and ask some questions. I know there's really not much time left. What time does class end? 9 o'clock? 9:10? Okay, so there's 13 minutes. So maybe if there's any other thoughts, if any of you have any corrections or other thoughts about this verse, I mean, it's a jam-packed verse. We could probably talk for days on this verse. Any thoughts, any questions, any corrections? Please, I really like to interact with the devotees because what do I know? I only know little. So, please, go ahead. We got 2 devotees here.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'm very grateful to you for telling us the importance of...
Can you speak really louder? Because I can't hear you.
Very grateful to you, Mataji. Is it audible?
Yes, thank you.
So, for making us understand what it means to become conscious of everything we do, everything we think, everything we interact with. So many times, as you said, that auto mode and we don't reflect. So my question is about this, Mataji, as you said, that nice analogy of making ghee. So as we are trying to make progress in Krishna consciousness, so there are stages like Adav Shraddha, Sadhu Sang, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, etc. So it is said that after Anartha Nivritti, some things are gone. So
some things are gone?
Some kind of impurities are gone.
Yes.
So my question is, after that, it appears to become difficult to look them more, and we are more eager to remove them from others and help them. So how do we focus to see this mental chatter, as you said, actually which goes on, and focus on that as well as our responsibilities, so that we can become conscious, Krishna conscious?
Nice question. Thank you. In my own experience, we're all aware that this material world has imperfections, and that with every endeavor there is some fault. We're all aware of that. I think the tendency to look outside, it's like a protective mechanism almost, because it's difficult to just be so vulnerable even to Krishna. I mean, Krishna stole the gopis' clothes. He wanted them to be completely vulnerable in front of him. But it's a little uncomfortable to be that vulnerable with Krishna. However, so the material protective mechanisms don't want us to be vulnerable. We want to be protected. So we have these mechanisms, protective mechanisms, and part of them are the false ego mechanisms, to keep us safe. And they're there for a purpose, because we do need to keep ourselves safe in certain ways, with certain people, in certain circumstances. We need that, and Krishna gave that to us automatically, because otherwise we wouldn't know what to do. He gave us so many automatic processes. However, again, Krishna consciousness is not just the automatic processes. In our relationship with Krishna, we don't want to be protective. We want to be vulnerable. When we can understand that, not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's will, and he really wants to help each and every one of us. He loves us so much, he wants us to come back more than we want. He really wants that for us, and so he gives us so many opportunities. However, the opportunities are disguised. They come through this Prabhu or this Mataji. They come through others. Now, if it comes from an elevated devotee or a sannyasi or a guru, maybe we can take it. But when it comes from somebody else, we don't recognize it as Krishna. However, every event that happens in our life is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to say, okay, what's going on in me? Why am I getting so upset? Why am I getting so upset? So when we point the finger out here, we might miss an opportunity in here. Now, sometimes as authorities and administrators, we have a job to make sure things out here are being taken care of. That's one thing. However, to mix that administrative work, and that's why it's really hard to be an administrator, with our own Krishna consciousness is difficult, because sometimes then we become, that mentality comes in our whole life. We need to be able to put that hat aside, and even if we're a senior or whatever, we need to be able to put that hat aside to see, okay, what does Krishna want to teach me? What does Krishna want to teach me here? What does Krishna want to teach me by this verse being this verse here and not the verse that I wanted to give? What does Krishna want to teach me? And being open to that and looking inward, we can get so many gifts. And it's really, really hard for us to change anything out here. I mean, we can change little things, but you can't change another person. Even gurus can't change their disciples. Even spouses can't change their spouse. We can't change our kids. We can't change our godbrothers. We wish we could. We try to. I haven't had any experience of that really happening. However, as we work on ourselves, every little thing that we do to work on ourselves transforms our relationships, transforms the way we see another person, transforms the way we interact, even when things come that don't feel so pleasant. So it's really up to you. I mean, investing in your own Krishna consciousness That's really only, we are fully responsible for this person right here. No one is going to take us back to Godhead without our participation. Not even Guru, not even Krishna. They're not going to drag us back. We need to participate in that. And we are responsible for our own consciousness. No one can change our consciousness. I mean, people may say things which have us reflect, but no one can change our consciousness. No one can chant our rounds for us. We can't outsource that service. We can't delegate that service. It behooves us to take that responsibility. If each and every person in the movement just took that responsibility so seriously, rather than pointing fingers, backbiting, gossiping, my goodness gracious, distracting ourselves from our real work, wow, what a movement it would be. However, I can't control anybody. I only have little control over this one person. How can I manage my mind? How can I manage my words? I like the word manage better than control. It seems a little less forceful. When we take that like as a real intention in life, what do you want to teach me, Krishna? We learn so much. We learn so much.
Hare Krishna. Very deep philosophical lecture by Mataji. Really wonderful points regarding our practical life and managing our activities, speech, mental setup, way of seeing the things. So I have been given the opportunity to share a brief introduction of Mataji. So thank you very much. We'll just start with a small prayer. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna. So I hope you all can see my screen. So Her Grace Sukhavaha Mataji. Mataji is like from her speech and all, you can know how deep concepts and mental related things Mataji is dealing with. So she is very deeply related to these aspects of managing emotional and things, along with the spiritual things, like just she connected so wonderfully. So Mataji was, her birth was around 60s and 70s, exact date we didn't got. And she grew up in her family. Her name was Susan Bor, and she was raised as a Protestant, and her father was Protestant minister, means a branch of, Catholics, Protestants and all, Christian religion. So she was brought up by that. And then she went for college education, and she completed her bachelor's in social welfare from Pennsylvania State University. Therefore, Mataji had been very expert in this field of taking well-being of the people. So she came in contact with Srila Prabhupada in early 1970s, and as you all know how she took the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and got inspired by Srila Prabhupada. And then in 1975, at the age of 21, means around she came 5 years before, 16. She came at 16 in this movement, and at the age of 21, she got initiation and received her name, Her Grace Sukhavaha Mataji. And from that then on, her services had been extensively, like Mataji was mentioning. We were always trained to work very hard. So in the movement of Srila Prabhupada in the beginning days, everyone, men, women, were so enthusiastic and out for preaching. So Mataji preached in North America and helped the congregation development, temple development, and especially this field in which Mataji is expert in balancing our emotional health and as well as providing the spiritual uh, counseling to the devotees. And then Mataji published some books as well. In the introduction, there was being mentioned how Mataji had some heart healing the heart series books published, and in that in detail Mataji was mentioning some of the points, like two birds she had mentioned. One is the Jiva and the Krishna, yellow bird and blue bird. So in that way, Mataji was expertly explaining the spiritual concept as well as connecting it with the emotional health of the people. And in that way, Mataji is very expert in speaking and involved in many preaching projects, especially for women. And yeah, in that way, her current services are Mataji deals on these subjects and also provides seminars and other conferences over this. And Mataji had also served as Minister of Social Welfare, I think, in 19 maybe some date I forgot, but she also served as this Minister of Social Welfare. And then her a little pastime with Srila Prabhupada, she was mentioning. On the way back from visiting the holy places in Vrindavan, the woman bus broke down. So as you can see, they were also out for Sankirtan, and we weren't concerned. We were feeling very protected. The women, at least, and at that period, they were very confident and everything they can handle. But later, when we heard that Srila Prabhupada was worried about us, he kept asking, "Where are the women? Where are the women?" He didn't go to sleep until we returned. Srila Prabhupada was so concerned. He also said that he was worried that women would not be protected after he left the planet. I thought it was significant how Prabhupada was so concerned and worried about the fate of women when he was gone. It touched my heart. Actually, we can see how Srila Prabhupada from his own life taught. He was always very protective and loving to his disciples, especially the women disciples, because women were more vulnerable to so many criticisms. Like in India, it was not common for a woman to serve a sannyasi or be near the sadhus and brahmacharis, and women were also together living in the ashram. Not exactly together, but they were in the same temple like that. But Srila Prabhupada was so accommodative and so um, concerned about them that he gave them all inspiration, all encouragement to go forward and preach Krishna consciousness. And now we can see at this age also, Mataji is so wonderfully, so enthusiastically speaking about Krishna consciousness. So we can see, and by her realizations, we can see how deeply she also have realized the concepts of Krishna consciousness, applied them in her life. Like Mataji was sharing, we have to accept what Krishna has planned for us. I expected another shlok, and there was some another shlok. So in this way, uh, Mataji is being serving in the movement so wonderfully. So we pray to all these wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Their inspiring and wonderful service they have done in this movement. We can also contribute in Srila Prabhupada's movement following the legacy. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Har Grace Sukhavaha Mataji ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. How can we get the full lecture?
Yes,
Is there
I will share, Mataji, maybe. Yeah, I can just put on the chat box itself. Or maybe Krishna Kirtan Pro can also share.
Thank
Just wait a minute. Yes. Yes, done. You all can get from the chat box. Wonderful lecture, actually. So wonderful practical points. I wrote many of them. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.